you think that we will do this kind of film without research? It is, I'd love to say I'm not nervous, but I am. Feel that Kundavai was not, Trisha was not Kundavai, then I'll be very surprised. The politics is totally relatable today. The power struggle, the small factions that group together and hide and try to usurp. Everything is exactly the same.
Palace politics.
Yeah.
Maybe now we can call it as a resort politics.
I agree. There's some scenes which I was very scared of shooting. I had one magic tool, the actors. If I was the actor, I'll ask who the director is. Yeah, the Cholas are coming.
For decades now, superstars, prominent directors, and eager actors have either been trying to make this film or act in it. Its source material, a 5-part series by the legendary Kalki, has been loved and cherished by audiences across the world, and they've been waiting to see their favorite task, this challenge. And now, one director has not only taken up this task, this challenge, but has also delivered what most thought was impossible. We have with us the man of the moment, Mr. Mani Ratnam himself.
A master storyteller of our
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you for talking.
Thank you for talking to us today, sir.
Pleasure.
The first question we wanted to ask you, this is just to do with your experience. You started this film in 2019, multiple lockdowns, so many kind of challenges that you faced to finally make this film. And then it didn't end there. Now you've been doing one promotion after another where all of us are coming and asking you the same questions. You've been traveling everywhere. What has been harder, making the film or the promotions?
Promotions.
And I have to ask you this, sir. This is an effort that many people have taken up in the past and abandoned due to several reasons. Other than budgetary issues, what do you think really worked well for you? What came together that it is now a Mani Ratnam film?
I think two elements which went in favor. One is the fact that today we're able to do it in 2 parts. Audience are ready to watch a film over, 2 parts. So that gave us the liberty to convert this 5-part series into at least manageable portions.
Okay.
Otherwise, trying to cramp it into one film was always difficult. It would mean narrating at a very, very rapid pace and be difficult for people to follow so many characters. We might be forced to leave a lot more out and things like that. So that has changed. That's the fact that it was 2-part made it a lot easier to narrate it. 2, I think the change in technology, the growth in VFX has been so tremendous that this kind of film, now thinking back, I don't think could have been made, even 10 years back.
So now is the right time for this film.
So for people who have read Ponniyin Selvan, every time when they read the novel, they discover something. They rediscover something. What has been your personal discovery as far as Ponniyin Selvan is concerned from the novel and now making it into a film?
I think he's a master storyteller, really. Kalki is just amazing. He's just brilliant because he makes it inclusive. He takes you along with him, in through the path. And that gave us the direction in which we should go, that of telling the story like it was happening in front of us and not tell the story as once upon a time, long back. Not take that approach, but make it inclusive, So the way we shot it, the way we approached the characters, everything was with a touch of contemporary quality so that, we relate to whatever is happening. Because the basic content of the book is relevant even today. The politics of it is relevant, the characters, the emotions, the angst, the anger, everything is relevant today. So it is very easy to go there and be a part of it and see it unfold in front of you.
So Ponniyin Selvan fans have a lot of questions about, each character is different in that movie. And how did Mani Ratnam come up with these characters? And how did he fix that this will be the actor for this particular character? So what has been like your search as far as like these characters are concerned?
I think I assume that you're talking about the casting of these characters. I think that is a process. I mean, casting it correctly is half the job done for me as a director. And sometimes you cast against the grain. I mean, you read something and you immediately everybody thinks of one face for it, but then it becomes a cliche. And however well that person does, it looks like what he can do. So you try to cast somebody else completely into that role, then the character kind of comes out onto the screen and onto us. So I think those are decisions that you make. And when you make, you work with the actor and then take a call that we both will be able to pull this off convincingly. And once that decision is made, we put in our best efforts. We just go all out of our way to make sure that we leave no stone unturned and try to make it believable, make it alive.
So, sir, you had, of course, in relation to this, said that you look for something in your actors, what they bring to the character while casting them. I wanted to ask you, sir, this is a period film, not something you have had too much, you've not done too many period films before at all.
None.
Yeah, so you've not done no period films before. So, in such a situation, as it hits theatres on September 30th, what are you most nervous about?
About everything. It is, I'd love to say I'm not nervous, but I am. I think there is an anxiety. It's a classic. It's a book. So converted into a film, and we've done it with our best efforts. And a book is a completely different medium from the movies. So the films requires a certain amount of a change in structure, change in the styles, change in brevity. Everything is there, and all of that has gone into making the film. And when you're in the process of making, you put all that, keep all that in mind and try to get the heart of the book into the narrative of the film. So now we'll time to get that validated. So it is, I think, till you're doing the shoot or till you're doing the post production, your mind is fully occupied in that, and so you're trying to even out small wrinkles and things like that. But now that is over and the film is out of your hands, it's gone into printing stage, is when you have time to be nervous.
Okay, and you spoke about the narrative. So, like a lot of people have read the book, and the way a lot of it is introduced is either through Kalki's narration, where he talks about, like, for example, if they go to Nagapatnam, he writes about Nagapatnam and its history for 2 pages. And then if a character is entering somewhere, let's say Vandiyathevan, he has thoughts which go on for multiple pages, which take the story forward. But in cinema, that's not something you can constantly have. So, what narrative tools did you have to adopt to get through these things that are also important in the storytelling?
I had one magic tool, the actors. That's what you use. I mean, what is written elaborately in the book about what he thinks and what he feels and things like that should come out in a close up, should come out in a body language, should come out in the way, the speed at which he delivers dialogues or moves in and moves out. I think once you take the element in, like I told you, it's a completely different medium. We have to reinvent it for cinema. Cinema is a medium of economy. We need minimal and the maximum output for it. So it needs, the actors to be fully there to be able to deliver for them to understand what the character is, imbibe all the elements that were there, and internalize it completely, and then let it come out. Let it come out as spontaneously, as real as possible. And if that is done, I'm sure we'll capture it.
So, like Priyanka asked you earlier, like there have been several directors, several actors who wanted to do this movie. Uh, when did you actually think about making this into a movie, Kalki's book into a movie? And when you had that script, how restless were you throughout the process? Because this film, it's taken 4 years for you to, shoot and produce. But before that, has this been in the back of your mind that you've been constantly thinking about?
No, it's been back of my mind. I've attempted making this film three times before, so but it's not that it's a burden that I carry across. It's not that. Whenever I tried making it, it always excited me, and it didn't fall into place. I accepted it because I think it's if you make it, you should make it as well as you can. No point in compromising it and bringing it down. So possibly all those misses were for a good reason because the time is right now and the facilities are much better and we are able to bring it out in two parts and we have put the best efforts in.
So, a book that is 5-part series, making it into a 2-part film, how difficult it is for you? It's a huge, story or a huge undertaking.
I will not say it is not difficult. It was difficult because I think he writes it so beautifully. I think we can make a 5-season story out of it very easily. We can just follow his track and you'll have an amazing series in front of you. But the first time I read this book, it looked like, to me, it looked like a big screen. It looked like adventure. Felt with, lots of horses, music, everything together. So I always thought of it as a feature film on the big screen, sitting with a lot of people and watching it. So that was the format that I was leaning towards. And if it is that format, it has to be precise, it has to be concise, and we have to get the essence of it and be able to retell the story for this medium.
So, sir, when we talk about retelling the story, one of the reasons I said that maybe period films are still within your system is because you've taken epics like Mahabharata, Ramayana and told it in your way. Like you've kind of adapted it and given a different angle to it in a modern way. You said Ponniyin Selvan, you always imagined it with horses and music. Did you ever think that maybe I could adapt this movie, or is that something that didn't cross your mind?
Adapted to a
Like a more modern setting.
Not really. I think it's too brilliantly written that it's set so beautifully and that calls for making it. You don't have to necessarily, look at a modernized version of it. We will lose a lot of magic. We lose the fact that they were real people. That there was Rajaraja Cholan. We all know what he's done and how much of what he's done still impacts us. Those are real people. To make it contemporary is taking them all out of the film, which is a massive sacrifice. I think those people, those characters around which a fiction is woven makes it so much more poignant.
And
So you spoke about the power struggle in this entire story. Uh, there has been a generation that has read the book and visualized the entire, Chola era. There's this new generation that is now learning about the Cholas. Like they're listening to podcasts, they're reading the book. So you have made this attempt to take this, to bring that in front of the viewers. The politics of this entire story, how well it has been captured in Ponniyin Selvan 1, or
In the movie,
in the movie.
the politics of it is the basis of the novel. So it has to be there. It is integral to the narrative, and the entire fiction is woven around it. So it should be there. It should be there. It is just that the politics is totally relatable today. The power struggle, the small factions that group together and hide and try to usurp. Everything is exactly the same.
palace politics.
Yeah,
Maybe now we can call it as a resort politics.
I agree. Very similar that it happens today. And there are people who are into that and they can be tempted by somebody else offering something else and they could waver so easily. Everything is there in the film.
So, sir, in terms of the book, there are some things that have to be handled carefully. In the sense, the time at which Ponniyin Selvan is based, the caste system was deeply entrenched in that kind of a situation. And now we are talking about moving away from it. We talk about more progressive ideas and things like that. When bringing that to screen, did you have to be more nuanced and careful and sensitive to what you're portraying, for example?
No, I think if you pick up an issue and try to, I mean, at any point of time, anywhere in history, there have been issues. Okay, there will be issues. So that doesn't mean that you cannot talk of that period at all. You have that period is 90%, it's called the golden era. I mean, there's so much of progress, so much of foresight. I think every water body that we live off today is from the Chola period. I think the reforms that they've made, the fact that they empowered a lot of poor people, gave land. No, I mean the entire taxation system was developed. There's so much. I mean, the first time the military force became professional. They were not farmers who were called at the time of war to go and fight, but they were a lot which were paid exclusively for that. They were trained, and in peace times, they are the ones who who dug up all the water bodies. So it's a time where there is so much of things that are happening, and so that is what the book is concentrating on. That is what the film is concentrating on.
And also, sir, you were pushing actors to be real, to be that character in this movie. So when you had doubts, whom did you consult with, and who was the person whom you were relying on?
Everyone. I mean,
And everyone like whom I spoke to, people who have read Ponniyin Selvan fans, they said they wanted to know what kind of research has gone into, how many times you have read the book, how many times you have gone back to the references.
yeah, you think that we will do this kind of film without research?
Yeah.
I mean, definitely more than what reading the book 4 times. It is a period which has been documented well. We had people, we had experts who were specifically there for, for the research and things like that. And we have tried to pull in as much as possible of, it being close to authentic, period and things like that. There's so many references, the temples, the costumes, everything is taken out of things that we have studied. And we had experts on the project right through to help us out.
So one thing we found quite amusing was like in the 90s when you made a Roja or a Bombay, at that point it was loved and appreciated across the country. But today this sudden phenomenon of pan-India film is out there, whereas Mani Ratnam was already making those films. So what do you think of this whole hype about pan-India film? It's a pan-India film. Like, does that have to be kind of said?
Yeah, it's just a coinage, I think. But it is good that a film that is made in one language moves easily across, the length and breadth of the country. So it's a very positive thing. It is, I think, to a large extent, OTT has helped in, bringing these stars across various states and things like that. So I think it's only healthy. Now it slowly becomes an Indian film and not necessarily a Hindi, Tamil or Telugu film. It becomes an Indian film, which I think is how it should be. And we should be willing to leave this Bollywood, Kollywood, all that, and leave this Hollywood hang up and call it an Indian film.
And sir, in the book, Kundavai is described to have the color of a red lotus, while Nandini is described as a full moon. There have been like some questions asking if Trisha was the right person for that role because of the kind of description given in the book. What was the reasoning that you had for casting?
See, there are two ways to cast it. One is with a physical description which an author writes when he is sitting on a table and writing. It is not as though that was exactly based on how the actual Kundavai was. Okay. So it is, he has taken a liberty to imagine it. So when you convert it, which do you follow? The way we went about it, we took the spirit. So I think a personality comes out of the way one behaves, and one exudes confidence and, one thinks and acts. So that spirit was what we know. And I think if you see the film fully and feel that Kundavai is not, Trisha was not Kundavai, then I'll be very surprised.
No. I there's no question
I
about the
will
casting.
be very, very surprised if that's the end of the thing. Because I think That is what goes into casting. Casting is not when you see a promo and say this is not full moon, this is not, I mean, that is really, I mean, that's a thing with our social media. There are too many I mean, reactions, which are fair enough. I mean, each one has read it, they have an opinion, but as a filmmaker, you should have the confidence saying that at the end of the film, these things will not exist. That it will come through. Trisha will come through very strongly, and she's performed really well. So I think we will answer those questions.
And you were talking about the promotions being very tiring. How has been the response as far as the promotions are concerned? The actors have traveled to different parts of the country. You have visited several parts. So, what has been the response from the public?
I think it's been very, very good. I think it's been very encouraging, very open, very good. And I think the actors have done a great job. I think they've enjoyed themselves, and that could be seen across. And it, somehow transfers. And each of them are passionate about the movie, about the book, about the era, and that passion comes through. So the conviction behind the movie comes through in all these meetings.
So a film like Bahubali took 5 years to make, the 2 parts. How did you manage to achieve this in 150 days? I think that's a question everybody in the film fraternity has been asking. Like, what kind of preparation did this?
I think it's the same thing. I think we prepared more. We had gaps, so that helped us to prepare even more. And we had to shoot in those gaps, so we were much more efficient. And I had a cameraman who was super fast. Okay. So I had a team which was ready. Entire crew, cast, and the costumes, set department, all of them were on their toes. We had a bigger team, and it was kind of very well organized. I think the production was really top class, so that the direction department can concentrate on making the film and getting it done in time.
Was there any one scene or chapter from the book that you were really looking forward to, shooting over there when you were?
It was the opposite. There's some scenes which I was very scared of shooting. I mean, most scenes I'm scared of shooting, but some were especially scared. But that happens. You have to find butts, because I don't know how to, actually shoot it. How do I? How do you place them? How do they're talking? How do you make it? Other than what is written on paper as dialogues, how else do you infuse life into it? How do we make it electric, like it's happening in front of us, so that it is not covering people talking, but seeing something that is happening in between the talk, in between the lines. So there are some which are difficult, which are very crucial to the film, but which could very easily become verbose. Okay. So you have to find ways, you have to search, you have to find ways to do it.
Could you give us an example of one such?
After you see the film, actually.
And also, your personally, the characters that inspired you from Ponniyin Selvan, your favorite characters from Ponniyin Selvan.
If you were to act in the movie, which character would you have done, sir? If Mani Ratnam was an actor, which character would you have chosen?
If I was the actor, I will ask who the director is. What kind of director will choose me to act?
That was the hypothetical scenario. Which character would you choose, sir?
I'd do everything.
And also, what do you have to say to Ponniyin Selvan fans? Because they have been restless like you. So, we have been getting messages. In fact, before this interview, we were talking to a couple of people. In fact, they sent us some 10 questions. You should ask these questions. So, one question was what do you want to tell those fans who are eagerly awaiting to see Ponniyin Selvan on screen?
Yeah, the Cholas are coming.
Right, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.